Her founding stones were watered with the blood of men. And she's always thirsty.
On the contrary, I have pledged to fulfill your commands, just later.
I am the realm's greatest warrior.
I drink and I know things. That's what I do.
Is it always like this?
Welcome back to Flagons and Dragons. We're glad to have you with us as we journey through Westeros. I am Jamie G, Protector of the River, and I'm here with the Admiral of Ale, Magna Mills, and the Keeper of Knives, the Soup Deucer. On this episode, we're talking about Unbent and Unbroken, Season 3, Episode 5 of that House of the Dragon. Hot D action, baby. I'm ready to rock and roll. How you doing, Soup? You ready to do this thing?
Yeah, man. There's a lot to unpack in this episode, man. It was like, pretty well scattered across the board there. Some characters weren't there, but most of them were. And a lot going on, man. A lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have you. So I'm into it, man. Good episode all in all. So ready to dive into it, dude.
Figured this would be right up your alley. You are the soup. This is an episode that gets to simmer on for a little bit before it comes to a boil at the end. And we are boiling from the start here on Flagons and Dragons. Thank you very much for checking out the show. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find our podcast wherever you get your pods. We're on the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, all the good ones. Find our videos on YouTube. Find us on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. And find us on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it easy and simple to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had the fun, please hit the thumb.
From this point forward, there's gonna be spoilers of all aired episodes of the House of the Dragon, as well as the official podcast, any interviews, any teasers, you name it. We could also discuss some differences between the show and Fire and Blood, but we will be avoiding any major book spoilers, so don't you fret. At the end of the episode, we might also discuss the sneak peek for the upcoming episode, so consider yourself warned, and if you don't know, now you know.
This is Unbent and Unbroken. You are not crazy. This is very close to an episode title from Game of Thrones, Season 5, Episode 6, Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken. This, however, is Season 3, Episode 5, the 23rd overall episode of House of the Dragon, originally released July 19th, 2026. Directed by Nina Lopez Corrado. This is the first episode of the show that she has directed, although she is a fairly prolific TV director. She is also directing the penultimate episode of Season 3, written for television by Philippa Goslett. This is her first written by credit on House of the Dragon. She will be receiving a co-writing credit on the penultimate episode. The short plot synopsis is, as the search for Aemon and Vhagar continues, Daemon attempts to control the spiraling situation in King's Landing.
Let's open things up here with just overall thoughts on the episode before we dive a bit deeper. Soup, we'll start with you here. What are your overall thoughts on Unbent and Unbroken?
I think it was pretty good, man. It wasn't over the top. It didn't have a lot of it didn't have any huge, it wasn't huge battles. I don't think we saw really, we might have had a glimpse at a dragon, it kind of took the foot off the gas with some of that stuff, which is fine because there's a lot of other stories that are developing and kind of things are coming to fruition here, so, and it had its fair share of pretty heavy moments also, it started pretty heavy and, it didn't really let you down the entire time, man. It never really, it might have pumped the brakes a little bit, but it didn't slow down enough to where where you felt like you were, easing off too much, so it was good. It was a good episode overall, man.
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. I thought the last episode was a little bit of this too, with kind of like setting the stage and giving the idea of where some of these characters might go and where the story might go. I think this built on that, but also we're starting to get comfortable in liking some of these, for example, the Aegon and Larys kind of journey. I'm starting to really like this. I like these two, right? And you're starting to now get, okay, what's going on with Aemon? And you start to like that or get creeped out by that, right? And I think they're doing a really good job with kind of giving people pairings and putting them in the situation and showing us more and getting us more involved. And you can kind of see where some things are starting to go. We'll get some of that in predictions when we end here. But overall, Like always, I know I say this every week, but it's worth mentioning. The show looks great. It sounds good. It's just so well produced that it's really incredible. They're not overdoing it with the dragons. I think we're getting batting 100% here in terms of dragons in every episode, but they're not overdoing it, and you just might get a glimpse here or there. So I really enjoying overall here what's happening. I thought this was another great episode, moving us into the meat of the season here.
Maybe I'm a little bit disappointed. No Siraxis. He's been becoming my favorite dragon, Damon's dragon. He'd had a couple of nice moments so far this season. We didn't get him in this one, but I think that's to the show's credit. We skipped some characters this week and you really didn't notice. I think they did a good job of kind of distributing who we saw on camera, distributing the screen time here. Everything we got made sense, although there are some changes from the book. I actually kind of hope that they follow through with some of these changes, at least some of the smaller ones. I will be a little bit disappointed if all of this is kind of stalling just to end up in the same place. So I know some people are like, oh, it has to happen exactly the way it happens in Fire and Blood or whatever. Fire and Blood itself is a little bit subjective to begin with. So I don't know that it's necessarily the end all be all. So I'm fine with some smaller changes, even some bigger changes if they pull it off. The Jamie G's note showed looked great. There were some great shots here. I love the stuff at Harrenhal, especially. I thought that was awesome. The one shot where Eamon kind of goes and overlooks out the little ruined balcony there, or whatever. And then you had the Raiders there climbing the cliff, coming up by the heart tree there in Harrenhal. I thought all of that stuff looked especially awesome, amongst other things. So no real complaints. I am very interested in what they're doing with Kristen Cole here. Like Jamie G said, I find myself kind of starting to begrudgingly like Aegon. I don't think I'm ever going to like Kristen Cole, but I think the choice to basically send him on a suicide mission is probably the best use of him. I don't really care if he succeeds or not. I'm just, at least it gives him something interesting, even if it is all because he didn't get the girl. It seems like all this dude has done for 3 seasons is whine about not getting the girl. So at least he's finally going somewhere with it. He reminds me a bit of a Blaine, that's Jesse Ventura's character in Predator. He doesn't have time for anything, dude. He ain't even got time to bleed. He's just ready to do this thing. He is ready to die, and I am kind of ready to watch it. I think this episode was a bit of a slow burn. Like Soup said, we did start out with Kristen Cole and them burned in that one camp. Then it slowed down for a little bit. And then you got stuff start to escalate until the end there. You get the big feast of traitors at the end. Kristen Cole is basically imploring his men to come die with him. Jamie G, did this slow burn work for you? You mentioned, Soup mentioned it too. We didn't really get a big battle here. It's been a couple episodes. Do you think they did a good job kind of like, all right, this one lights the fuse and now we can get to the fireworks factory in the final 3 episodes?
I think they did. I think I've come accustomed to them kind of with this slow edging buildup. They've been really great at it, so much to the point where I think it's almost been a fault with what we saw with season two. I don't want to hold that against them because they did start off ripping on all cylinders here. But I think there's enough. I think we probably need one more episode, maybe a half an episode to really kind of lay the final track work here to get there. But I think we're close.
What do you think, Soup? Did the slow burn kind of pay off for you here?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have some kind of, you can't just have full throttle all the time. There's got to be some kind of explanation and like something to level it out, man. Otherwise, it just is meaningless because that's all it is, Make it more impactful by getting you more attached to it by, making a story. You got to have a story, and you can't have a story if it's just nothing but battle.
Yeah, just because dragons didn't burn down a town here doesn't mean nothing happened.
Exactly, man, and a lot did happen in every episode this season. Well, all seasons, a lot does happen. It's always more entertaining when you get some action, and we got some action. It doesn't need to be, front to back every episode. A little bit sprinkled in is fine, especially in midway through the season when you're kind of in a story building process here. A little bit of hardcore stuff mixed with laying the story out is kind of important. It's a good format, and yeah, I think the fuse has been lit for a while, and it's just a long fuse, man. But
It's one of
yeah,
those coyote fuses.
yeah.
Stretch it around so the roadrunner can't see him or whatever. So I think they have kind of delivered on that. One thing, I guess the only thing that makes it feel like they could be spinning their wheels a little bit is it seems like they're recycling Damon's Harrenhal plot for Aemon here, and they're kind of doing the same thing with Daemon and Rhaenyra again. Jamie G, are you at all concerned that they're recycling this, or are they just trying to kind of like, do kind of a little bit of a clever callback or reference or something of that nature?
It dawned, the thought crossed my mind of like, oh, is this just kind of another version of this, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here and hope that it's just a neat callback, but they put a different twist or go somewhere else with it. So for right now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but the thought did cross my mind a little bit. So there's a shred of concern.
How about you, Soup? Any concerns that we're kind of retreading the same ground at all with these two plots?
I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I don't know, man. It's certainly not the same situation, but if we get to the end of the season and we don't get any kind of like, it's still kind of in limbo, like dangling, and I feel like it might be at this point. I don't know that we're going to get any solid answers until next season on in that regard. But something to help move it forward would be nice rather than just letting it string along.
I do think that it gives us a chance, though, Mills. The one thing I will say is they're so good on camera together. They're great individually, but they're great together. It does give us, a little bit of more of them together, and there's such great chemistry there. Those scenes are awesome, and I kind of love when they switch to the High Valerian and go back and forth. Like, yes, it's a little bit recycled, but I think it calls for it because it's really very much so them versus the Greens. I mean, I know she's putting together a cabinet and everything, but like it's really just Rhaenyra and Damon, in my opinion. I mean, they're the two leading forces here going against all of the Greens, right? So I kind of think it makes sense, and I like the more shit we get with the both of them, the better, honestly.
Yeah, Allison said something almost exactly along those lines to Miss Area, where basically like she made her choice with Damon, and now like they can only go down that road together, and the road ends in the same place, kind of. So I think that is a very good point. I honestly don't mind them rerunning the Damon and Harrenhal stuff because I feel that's really more about Alice Rivers. Like she tried to, she wants Harrenhal, right? So she ran her game on Damon, didn't work. Now she got another crack at it, so she's just trying again, basically. So I don't mind it. Maybe there'll be different results. I really don't want Damon and Rhaenyra to fight too much. That would bother me. That we were supposed to get the resolution on that. He had the big vision about the North and the undead and everything and the White Walkers. So that was supposed to be kind of settled. I get that he is still ambitious. He talks about expanding to 9 kingdoms to 12 kingdoms. That's all well and good, but I don't want him to necessarily be working at odds with Rhaenyra or against Rhaenyra for that long. So that would be my one complaint if they go back to that. Well, I'm curious to see where they go with it overall, as long as they don't kind of just keep leaning on that conflict and doing the same thing again and again. The show is Flagons and Dragons. So every week we ask, were there enough flagons? Were there enough dragons? And we all mentioned there weren't a lot of dragons. We did get just a little bit there. We got some sea smoke. And we did get Damon. Like, you can't have a good small council meeting without a flagon of wine. So we had that going on. So I think it barely passes here. I think they built up enough credit. I'm very positive we're going to get more dragons and probably more flagons. No Ulf this episode. So I will say there is an Ulf to flagon correlation. The more Ulf we get, the more flagons that get consumed. So no Ulf, probably not a surprise. We take a step back here in terms of the flagons. Soup, was there enough flagons and dragons in this one for you?
I mean, enough, yeah, but there wasn't. Yeah, you don't need a whole bunch every time. I mean, dragons. We got a glimpse of a couple of dragons. That's it. But that's okay. We can do with that for an episode. Um, Flagons. I think there was almost enough. I mean, I really enjoy the party in the woods kind of after battle. Everybody's happy or going in. And the rustic, kind of music playing and shit like that, dude. But we didn't get that really. But we did get even around the table in the meetings and stuff. Flagon of wine, goblet of ale, or whatever the fuck is pretty solid.
I did see Rhaenyra go for the wine though at the council meeting. I did appreciate that because it gave me, I used to those I didn't love Cersei in Game of Thrones, but man, I would love to be drinking wine with her. She could put away some wine, bro. She was a wine drinker at all
And you can
times.
understand how like, this job would drive you. This job would drive you
Yeah,
to drink. Those are two things. Either the job drives you to drink or boredom. Those are the two things that'll get you the most, probably.
it's always a short drive, but we get there eventually.
Whatever it takes. You get there on a pogo stick if you need to. And then we have to ask who won the episode, Team Black or Team Green? We've been going back and forth. I think I have to give this one to Team Green here. They put the most points on the board, so I think this is probably the first, I think, for me at least, clear win for Team Green on the season. What do you think, Soup? Who took this one down, the Greens or the Blacks?
Dude, I think I'm going green this time too, man, for the first time of the season here. It was close last week, but I think Green's got it this week, man.
I'm there with you guys. I got to go greens here. I mean, the black's rattling a little bit, and it's not just rattling from afar; it's rattling within. We're talking about inside enemies. We're losing gold cloaks. I mean, this is serious here. So yeah, I think so. I got to go green here.
So it's unanimous for the first time this season. Team Green takes it down. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the episode and talk about maybe one of the winners on the Team Green side. That is Aegon the Second. We've all mentioned, I think we're big fans of this plot line. And this is fun. Some of the obvious stuff here, Aemond obviously blames everything, or Aegon obviously blames everything on Aemond. But Larry's has finally had enough, and he just goes full mad rapper, like just tells Aegon to what he actually thinks, and honestly, what I would assume is the public sentiment. I don't think Larry's is alone when he says all of this shit to Aegon. And Soup, what did you think about this? Do you think that actually hearing someone say this to his face will really, will this really land for Aegon, or will he kind of just eventually roll it off and keep, go right back to being who he's always been?
I don't know if it'll completely change him at all, but the fact that I think he had learned something from it, and he's been learning every episode this season. It was nice to see. It was ballsy, and I think obviously well justified to see him unleash on Aegon like that. Just kind of spill it. Somebody had to tell him to fucking tell him how it is. And rarely does somebody in that position that he's in. Had he still been sitting on the throne, nobody would dare to fucking say shit like that to him. But being where he's at right now, he gets to learn that lesson. So.
Yeah, calculated gamble by Larry's. I think there he needed to light a fire under him. I mean, he hits him with both barrels. You are a terrible king, but worse than that, you are a terrible man. I mean, Larry's had to be calculating there, right, Jamie G? It was maybe they were going to die if he didn't get him to kind of wake up somehow. Like, what do you think of the choice here?
I think it was his last resort, because it's either you're gonna like come to grips with this and move on and do reason, or I'm gonna leave you. And either way, you need to know the truth. And I thought it was kind of his last resort, the last ace he had in his sleeve, and it seems to work. I think it was one of those moments where it's kind of like when somebody hits you with something, you start to like think about it. You're like, shit, maybe they're right. I think that happened here, and I think he knew, but hearing it from somebody who's been, kissing his ass this whole time and trying to get him back on the throne, I think it hits a little deeper than, just somebody random telling you that, or just
Right, the dude who his whole deal is all he does is kiss ass. He kisses everyone's
right.
ass. He plays both sides. Like he never does this. So this is like almost the craziest dude that you could possibly hear it from, because it's the dude probably most, or least likely, I should say, to actually say this. And you're right, it looks like it works. I love that, like kind of how you give the kid a cookie when they do something good. When they get back to the camp and Aegon tells them, all right, hire the ship. Larry gives them an apple, like, oh, here, good job. And then all of a sudden, it gets destroyed because we have the departed, and then I guess we have the arrived. It's the opposite of departure right here, because dude, Tywin Lannister still alive. Jamie G, what did you think about this? And this kind of, I think, throws a little bit of wrench in the plans here, because now this is going to give Aegon a little bit of momentum, right? What do you think about our guy Tywin surviving?
Yeah, I had a feeling, because we never really kind of got any resolution, so it's like, all right, he's probably still alive. But I thought it was exciting in that, like, we just saw Aegon at like a super low. Now he might get a little juice here, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, and so I did like that. But I was curious, like, how the hell did he end up at this camp? Out of all places, like, what's going on here? So, but all said and done, I think it's good for the show.
Do you like this idea, Soup? Is it too much that him and Corlys both survived? Or you kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. It's nice to have him around.
Yeah, no, it's not too surprising for me, man. I mean, could have went either way, but yeah, I mean, we've seen weirder shit in the Westeros world over the course of this series and Game of Thrones, man. I mean, there's been moments where like, how the fuck did that guy get out of that? Or, I mean, plenty of them. So not surprised by it at all.
And he immediately gets a very funny moment because Aegon gets his revenge on the dude. I forget, like Jonas or whatever his name was, but the dude who made him kiss his shit covered boots in the last episode. Here, the dude finds the crown, and then Aegon gives him the stabby stabby. Just watch the reactions. by Larry's and Tyler when that's going on. They're just kind of like almost doing the thing where you just look around and whistle or whatever and try to act nonchalant. I thought that was very, very fun. And I'm pretty sure that there was a big Lost call out here. One of the most famous lines from Lost, probably one of the more famous lines in television, is John Locke screaming, "You can't tell me what I can't do." And here Aegon 2 basically does his version of this, like, "Stop telling me what I can't do." It's hard for me to ignore that, having watched Lost a bunch of times here. That one stuck out. It almost has to be a callback. And speaking of callbacks, let's go back to Gwen's world, dude. Party time, excellent. Well, maybe not that much for Gwen. I think Garth, Kristen Cole here, he's having fun going on his little suicide run. They get the win early in the episode. Soup talked about it. They're kind of doing this, guerrilla warfare thing. They burn a camp. They're trying to take out these bridges. Ultimately, it looks like Damon's army gets ahead of them. They cross the bridge. They burn the bridge. Gwen keeps telling Kristen Cole, like, "Come on, dude, you can come stay with my rich family, work for us. Everything will be fine." And Kristen Cole's like, "Nah, dude, I'm gonna die. They're gonna write songs about me, and then that Allison chick is finally gonna know what she's missing out of." And Jamie G, what do you think about Kristen Cole just going on his suicide mission here? Do you like it? Do you feel like it's a little bit too cheesy that it's just because Allison spurned him? Or, how do you feel about this?
It's a little bit of a stretch for me. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I guess it's, I guess I can kind of see and empathize with him being a servant his whole life and wanting to do this on his way. But it's kind of like, really, like, dude, like, Alicent was never going to be yours anyways. You knew when you started banging her that you could never have a real relationship with her. Like, so I guess I'm kind of like surprised as to, like, now all of a sudden, like, you're concerned about, like, the fact that like, did you really think, what, you thought she was going to marry you? Like, come on, dude. Like, that,
He literally thought Renera was going to do
dude.
that the first time. That's what makes it so bad. He's done this twice now.
I guess I'm just kind of like, he's a great actor though, and like I do like that quite a bit. But it's a little bit of a cheesy stretch for me, but like, it's fine.
I think he's like Samson, dude. He lost all his power when he cut his hair.
Yeah.
Remember first season, he had that flowing, luxurious hair, man. They
Yeah.
were going to run away to Essos, him and Renera. That feels like about a million years ago. Soup, what do you think about Kristen Cole here? I mean, it's one thing for him to do this, but isn't it kind of a dick move to bring these men along with him for the the
Yes.
ride to hell, basically, the highway to
Yeah,
hell?
man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. It's like it's a cult, but without
Not the
it's like
Kool-Aid.
Drake Day. It's like, yeah, not the Kool-Aid. It's a different kind of. We're going into kamikaze battle here, dude. We have any chance of victory? No, but I'm not going to tell you that. We're just doing,
Yeah, I mean, so is it the highway to hell or is it the stairway to heaven? I mean, it depends on how you look at it here, but yeah, it's a little bit unfair to people who don't want to go out on the same, like, they're not marching towards their death. They can't win. They want to, like, go home.
And I think Cole's a little full of himself, right? Like he calls himself the realm's greatest warrior.
Yeah, that
Has
shocked
he
me. I
really
was like,
earned that?
oh,
I feel like that's not earned. I know he's battled a little bit, but that doesn't, I don't know if he is really the realm's greatest warrior. If he is, I think the realm needs to start drafting better.
yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if people are going to write songs about him, dude.
wouldn't Damon be considered the
I
realm's
would think
greatest
at least
warrior
over
over
Cole.
Cole?
He's definitely older, been doing it for longer. I know Cole unhorsed him in that first tournament of the series or whatever, but there's no way like one unhorsing in a joust or whatever over. Like Damon was king of the stepstones and everything. Like
Yeah,
Cole, what did they won the Burning Mill battle. That's basically he's won like two battles at most.
yeah, that kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm like, you telling me out of all the warriors in Westeros, like, really? Like,
Well, to be fair, I think Gwaine might have some deeper, unrecognized feelings for Kristen Cole. He really, at least he
oh,
loves him in
really?
a very like Jay and Silent Bob, like hetero life mate kind of way. So it's finally like it had to go all the way. You see him kind of slink off at the end there. That's when you know Cole has gone off the deep end. When you lose Gwaine, when Garth is stuck out there on his own, that's
Yeah.
it for the show, man. You can't really be doing the show after that, even on cable access. So shout out Quaid here. I did think he was kind of fun. We didn't get much from the Riverland Army or the Winter Wolves, but we did get a couple of brutal shots in this episode. One of which is they had those the crow traps or whatever it was when the joint went through the
Oh
horse's
yeah.
foot, and then Kristen Cole like brutally stabs the horse. That's we did see that in the trailer. So again, nice job HBO misleading us. You know, you wonder who he's killing, and it's a horse. But I thought that was pretty brutal. You know, we had all the dudes who get killed, man, all the guts and everything. Dude, a lot of bowels in this episode.
A lot of bowels, a lot of vowels. I thought the horse scene was incredible because that was one where I thought maybe it was the and dude, how good is our guy from Sons of Anarchy playing the old Wolfman?
Tommy
Like he's
Flanagan, yep.
Wolfman's brother over here, dude. He was great. But I love that because you thought maybe they were under attack and you didn't realize why these horses were kind of, there's so many things that could have been from witchery to like the a trap or something. I really like that. And it was brutal to watch him kill the horse. I don't, it's never fun to see like any animal get hurt here, but at least he put it out of its misery, I guess. But it
Yeah, at
goes to
least they
show
did
you
it
how
off
bad those
camera.
clamps were. Yeah.
I initially thought that the horses were raiding out because there was a dragon right there. That was
Oh
my
yeah.
initial thought. I was like, oh, there's a dragon, so I was kind of waiting for it. And then as it went along there, they had the traps and whatnot. But
Yeah, I feel like maybe he could have, treated it, but Kristen Cole is not really kind of in that kind of mood, it seems. And shout out our guy, you mentioned him, Tommy Flanagan. He is playing Roddy the Ruin. That's his name. Jamie G, would not that be a great name for a divorce lawyer? Roddy the Ruin? Like, you want to hurt your ex? I'll ruin her.
I'm Roddy
Like
the Ruin.
1-888 call ruin or something like that. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like this sells itself.
we have one that pops up on the commercials where I live all the time, and he has the best name, dude. And it's better of a porn star name, really. But his name is Richard Flexner, so Dick Flexner, and he's a super popular lawyer. He's got
I don't know if that's his birth name. If it is, his parents had very
Dick
specific professions
Flexner,
in
dude.
mind. Oh, that's pretty fantastic. Yeah, there are
That's
some good ones.
amazing.
I saw one, dude, somewhere around me, they straight jacked all of the Better Call Saul, the logo, the font, everything. It's basically
Wow.
just Better Call Saul with the actual lawyer's name. But it tells you it's not that good because I remember that he's stealing Better Call Saul, but I don't remember the lawyer's name. So I don't know. Not nearly as effective as this Gwane's World marketing that we are working on here. We've talked about Harrenhal a bit. Let's just talk about Alice Rivers for a minute. I said half jokingly that she is kind of rerunning what she did with Damon. But Soup, what do you think here? Like, do you really think she is at least somewhat magical, right? She almost has to be. It seems like she kind of summons the bats. Like, do you think she had something to do with Vagar going away? Like, just how magical, how powerful do you think this chick is?
I think it's more than we are let on, or we're let on to believe a bit, but I think it's more than we know. I'm intrigued by this character, man. The more and more presence that she has, the more screen time or scenes with her, I'm getting a little bit more interested in what might unfold with what she actually is capable of.
What do you think about Alice Rivers, Jamie G? Is she like, actually a very powerful magician? Is it most of it smoke and mirrors? Like how much power, how much juice you think she's got?
I think it's more than what you think, right? I think it's something deeper than that. And I think maybe she's even influencing these dreams that both Damon went through and now Aemond are going through, almost in a weird like parallel way. I think she might be like able to control that. Definitely looked like she summoned the bats. It was weird though because there was that scene where Aemond comes out and just like kills three dudes, where she looked completely helpless though. So there's a little bit of both, but I definitely think she is some of the power and the dark magic behind Harrenhal, if you will.
My read was that I don't know that she necessarily invited those dudes who climbed up there, but I feel like she could have defended herself more if she wanted to. And her idea was to, again, kind of snap Aemond out of it. Do you think is that how you read it, or did you read it a different way?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it was basically like to give him a chance to like kind of get out of his own head and be like, hey, I'm still this guy. Like I'm still that dude. I can come out here and just smoke three dudes.
You concur, Soup? Do you think this was kind of her plan all along, a little bit to kind of snap Aemond out of his funk?
Yeah, I don't know yeah, I don't know that she's so much a puppet master, but she is controlling some of the shit in a weird roundabout witchery way, I think, or has some kind of influence. And again, I think she's smarter and has a little bit more capabilities and powers than we know about yet. But they've definitely put it out there that there is something there.
Kind of interesting. He asked her at one point if he's a prisoner, and if you're paying attention, he never actually answers. I don't know that
Yeah.
he is, but maybe it's a prisoner of the mind kind of thing or something like that. So I'm curious as to where they're going with this. And I would say there's a little bit of an Alanis alert here because isn't it ironic? We hear Aegon and Aemon both complain that they had it so bad because the other one was their mother's favorite. It's like, isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
Aemon thinks Aegon was a favorite. Aegon thinks Aemon was a favorite. So of course that means Helena was probably the favorite.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is though, is it just me, Mills, or am I picking up on a real creepy mommy type situation with Aemond and
Yeah, I
her where
couldn't
it's
tell
like,
if he called her mommy there or just yeah, it's
is it borderline BE though? Like, and will it go like HBO will make it incest even though it's not? Like, I
there's
don't
more
know.
than there was between Alice and Damon. Put it that way. That never really seemed like they were going to go there with that one. Here, I think it's at least more of a possibility.
Feels like it might go there.
Yeah, I mean, Eamon was trying to go there with his mother, so if he's calling her mother,
But
and we
I
know she
love
wants
this.
Harrenhal, she'll probably do what it takes, I would think.
She'll do what it takes. I love this whole comparison though of them both kind of complaining about they didn't have the opportunity of the other. And it was really cool to see the way Alice responded to Aemon, but then the way Laris responded to Aegon, totally different, right? Where he basically lets him know you had every opportunity. There's probably a little bit of normalcy with everyday life with people who have brothers or whatever. It's like but I don't know that Allison really liked. My guess is she liked Aegon better, is my guess, but especially now.
Yeah, I don't know if she was wild about either of them, to be perfectly honest. At least maybe Aemon before Vagar thing, because then he kind of changed after that, I would say. So interesting stuff going on there. We can maybe speculate a little bit in predictions. We don't get a lot from Ormond and Darren this week. We do learn that Ormond is the guy that's orchestrating all of the stuff that's going on with the City Watch. And also, maybe somewhat ironically, Ormond spends probably his most time talking about Miriam Martell, the yellow toad of Dorne. We know Ormond generally is not impressed by women, so I think you have to take note when he's like, this is the one woman that had a good military mind. And maybe
The
there's some
one.
foreshadowing here. He talks about how her strategy against Aegon the Conqueror was to play dead and then basically, do them dirty, kill them while they slept. I think that could maybe give us some insight into what, Ormond's willing to do, right, Soup? I mean, this dude seems like he will do whatever it takes, including naming Daron king, which he has done, and even put him on some money. Although, unfortunately for Daron, I don't know that it's a good likeness.
Not a good likeness. Not a good likeness, isn't it? Is that money actually worth anything, or is it like
Only to the people who accept it, really.
I'm not sure what the I'm not sure. I don't think they have a Fort Knox over there or anything, but his money, you got to back it up somehow. I don't know. I'm
Yeah, they
not
don't
sure.
take my space box at 7-Eleven, no matter how many times I try.
So anyway, he's got his face on some money, and apparently it's a big deal over in Westeros. So, or it could become a big deal. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, if they reprint, or put it on a different coin, maybe a better picture.
It was a horrible picture. It looked nothing like him. If I was Darren, I would have been like, "The hell is this?"
What's
Even if
worse
it's a
is
better
no one
picture.
really knows what this dude looks like. So now this is going to be everyone's first impression, right? They're going to be like, "Oh, I
That's a
can't
good
vote for
point.
this guy. He's ugly."
Right. That's a good point. It's very cunning though, and again, to your point, you're seeing the cunningness of Ormond, and it makes sense, right? Because they're trying to, create him as kind of like this intellectual and thinker and everything. Like they've kind of have an air to him. These high towers. I got a little bit of it with Otto, but not in the same way. It was similar but different. This one's really full force, like we are the superior race because we're smart or whatever. So it's an interesting thing, but yeah, I think he's willing to go anywhere as far as he has to get what he wants.
Kind of interesting reaction when we see Daron beat him in Westerosi chess or whatever they're playing there. Maybe he isn't as smart as he thinks. And it's funny because you see Daron, like you're waiting for like we saw last week when he attacks the table with the sword. You're kind of waiting for it and he pulls back, kind of like Happy Gilmore when he stops throwing the club as much or whatever. When you get to the back half of Happy Gilmore there, he tells Daron, don't ever apologize for winning. But I get the idea, Super. Right? He was not happy that Darren beat him. Do you think maybe this is an indication that he isn't quite as smart as he thinks he is? Maybe.
Yes, it is absolutely. And it's
I know you
also
like to play the
indication that
chess.
yeah, it's also indication that Darren is smart. or smarter, or at least as smart as we anticipate him to be, so he might be, I think he's kind of a bit of a wild card going forward, at least that's what was kind of leaning towards here.
Yeah, and I like it because there might be some softness to him too, where maybe he's not going to be. I mean, I know we saw him kill an innocent man last week, which was troublesome, but I don't know that he doesn't have the Game of Thrones Joffrey evil in him, right? Like he's more so like a Game of Thrones Tommen, it seems. So it'll be interesting, maybe just smarter and more, you know, more prepared. But I do like that element. But Orman was right there, man. That was a good lesson. Never apologize for winning. You never should.
Yeah, it seems that Darren is trending closer to being more like Helena than Aegon and Aemon, and that's probably a good thing. So,
Yeah.
maybe if maybe he could take out Ormond, maybe cooler heads would prevail. Because honestly, I know everybody loves Raymond, but I'm pretty sure everybody hates Ormond. We heard Alicent not really talk fondly about him, and then you got Gwaine. What does Gwaine think? Gwaine used to let him win. And nice talking about it here because Darren doesn't let him win. And why did Gwaine let him win? Because he was a thin-skinned twat even back then when they were kids. So literally no one likes Ormond, which probably makes him even more dangerous, right? He literally doesn't even have any friends to lose. He doesn't even have a Larry's. He doesn't have even that dude to tell him to his face what his shortcomings are. So we will see where that goes. Again, we can speculate about that a little bit in predictions. We've talked quite a bit about Alicent and Helena here. What do you think about Mysaria's interactions here? These are two characters I don't think we have ever seen interact before. We see kind of the one serving girl giving Orwell the side eye. So I'm guessing that's how she figured out the thing about the moon tea. Helena is not having it. Probably no big surprise there. But Allison goes all the way, right, Jamie? She even drinks the moon tea in front of Mysaria, but it doesn't seem like it was probably all for naught, right? I don't think it actually fooled her.
Oh, I don't think it fooled her at all. I think if anything, it showed her, man, she's willing to go further than I thought to protect her children, and I can use that against her in the future. That's how I took it, as kind of a little inside, like, all right, now I have an edge on you because I've seen what you're willing to do, because she knew she was lying. It was obvious. But I'm surprised she fully committed and drank it. And then I love that little scene after where she got like the ice on her tummy, like dealing with it. Like, yeah, that probably was uncomfortable for you.
So, what do you think about their escape attempt? Was that ever going to work? Was it always doomed from the start? I mean, they looked pretty good in the maid costumes, a little bit of Handmaid's Tale vibes there or whatever, but I never really thought they were going to make it. Did you ever think they had a chance, or were you not surprised when Massaria was right there? She was all on top of this.
Yeah, I didn't think they really had much of a chance, man. I wasn't surprised by Mysaria being there either because she seemed to be kind of onto that, or she knows, man, she's smart, dude, and she's been on to like Ellison for a hot minute, just kind of keeping an eye on things. So, um, yeah, not a big surprise there. If they had gotten out, I don't know how far they would get. I mean that'd be another thing. So, I feel like the way it worked out is going to be the way it probably plays out the best anyway. And, for the story moving forward, as Jamie G said, this is going to be something that Mysaria can use against them. Will she go and run and tell Rhaenyra about it? I don't think so. I think she'll hang on to this one for a hot minute.
Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit more in predictions. We got a little bit of stuff with the small council. Most notably, you get Lady Sabbatha Frey. She is pissed because if you remember back in season 2, Jace went there and promised the Freys Harrenhal if they would let the Winter Wolves, let the Riverlands army use the twins to go ahead and make the crossing, which they did. She is just going to have to settle for a spot on the small council now. And man, Jamie G, is this the least organized small council meeting we've ever seen? Maybe they should bring the balls back here. Obviously you have Damon and Mysaria at each other's throats. I kind of like this little pairing with Manderly and Lady Frey there, where he's kind of bringing her up to speed, but basically also talking shit about everyone while he does so. I thought this was, a lot of fun and also a good indicator of just how little control Rhaenyra has right now. What do you think about the small council stuff?
Yeah, it's chaotic. It was fun to see kind of, just the whole intro of introducing the the new member was hilarious, where it's like, all right, this is a little bit, she's coming in with a problem already, right? And then to see her not have control of the table, and I don't know if it's lack of fear of her or lack of just like organizational skills or what, but it's just way all over the place here. And then of course a little dispute with Damon. But how awesome is Damon's energy at this table, dude? Just so, like when he walks and he holds his sword thing, it's so cool. But like even as he's sitting there, he's just like very cool. The way he just glances at you, he's just freaking awesome, dude.
He's exasperated, I think is the term. He's just so past this, which Rhaenyra doesn't like really. Damon is supposed to be backing her up. You get the little bit there with Bela and Adam, and Rhaenyra wants him to go back out, keep looking for Vhagar, and Adam sticks up for Bela. He's like, can we eat? Like, can we get a minute here? So Rhaenyra's like, all right, you eat. That makes sense. Damon, you go do it. Damon's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that right now. I got to deal with this city watch shit. So then when they go out of the room, I love that she kind of dresses him down. He's like, look, I am going to do what you asked later. That's certainly reasonable, Soup. I know you wouldn't probably take it if you were on the job and you were telling someone to do something, but if the wifey's yelling at you to mow the lawn, I think later is an acceptable answer.
Yeah, if it's like, man, I'm out of fucking, chili sauce and I fucking need it now, and there's later is not an acceptable answer, but hey, man, I can cut the yard later, that's an acceptable answer.
But I don't think Renera was thrilled with that answer in this context, probably. Jamie G, what did you think about this? Is this, Damon, just kind of sowing his own oats, feeling himself again, or is he genuinely think he's doing the right thing? Because that's kind of the indication he seemed to give here. He's like, look, trust me, I am working in your interest here. We need to handle this first. And I mean, maybe he's right.
I think he's right, and I do think he's trying to advise and counsel her on the most pressing use of his time, and I think this is it. I do see her point where it's like, hey, I can't have you like contradicting me or going against what I'm saying at the council because I want people to respect me. But at the same time, I think he's kind of right, and she has a tendency to kind of make like a quick, emotional decision a little bit. So I think that there's a little bit of that. But I do see her side completely though, and like, dude, can't you got to do what I say, kind of, because I am your queen. So, but I think Damon gets it though, man. Like I mean, he's had the vision. If he's not really for her, then like that the whole point of him going to Harrenhal is just basically for nothing. So I gotta believe that like he's all in with her.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is a management thing. You mentioned the scene they have at the Septa that's mostly in High Valyrian. Very cool, very good looking scene. But within that scene, the two things I picked up on was one, it seems like Rhaenyra might try a different management style here instead of just telling Daemon what to do. She tries to, I think, challenge his pride, right? She's like, oh man, Daemon, the Lord of Flea Bottom, all of this. And here you got these random dudes getting one over on you. Maybe you aren't so cool after all. Soup, do you think that might be a more effective style with Daemon instead of her giving him orders, trying to basically like goad him into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with you gotta when you start to learn people and want them to do things, whether it's professionally or personally, you read into their character and whatever it takes. Sometimes barking orders of being mean or demanding about something isn't the way to go. Sometimes roundabout ways like, almost insulting people, or even like, the honey attracts more bees saying, or however that goes, like being nicer could be whatever the approach is. There's multiple ways to do it. It depends on the person, the situation, and all the above, man.
Yeah, not everyone responds to the same buttons, basically.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you could tell he liked it. He liked it a little bit because he kind of chuckled and he's like, "All right, game on."
Okay, it was a little okay right there. Okay, I
Yeah,
see you.
all
I
right,
see you.
game on.
Yeah,
I'll show
dude.
you.
And sometimes it's better to challenge people than it is to, insult them or direct
I
or
think Damon needs a challenge. He likes it. He gets bored. Like when he was in the step zones and he won, he got bored. Like I think he's just a dude that always needs another challenge. He needs another mountain to climb, kind of, or he feels like he's standing still. So I think that in itself makes a lot of sense. The other thing I picked up on, which was something that Bela also mentioned, this idea that Rhaenyra thinks that when she was at her darkest hour, the gods sent her a dragon that was sea smoke. Remember, with finding Adam on the beach back in season 2. Jamie G, are you worried that this could lead to her becoming like, people are in trouble when they really start believing? Like, if she truly believes like she is ordained by God, like, could that lead to her making some incredibly bad decisions because she thinks she is destined to win in the end?
Yeah, I mean that's the every everything in history tells you, whether it's in Westeros or you know um Earth, like this is a common theme with people who feel like they're being led by God, right? And sometimes it can get you there, but a lot of times it'll lead you to do things where it ends up you don't make it, right? And it's like that's your downfall too. So I think it's a slippery slope. You got to be careful with it.
Generally, when somebody feels that they are ordained by a higher power, you cannot negotiate with them because they truly believe they
Yeah.
are, backed by an infallible being. So, yeah, this could be bad for Rhaenyra. It means that there's probably not a lot of room for compromise here. So she is probably going to have to go big or go home if she wants to get the job done. And that's kind of what Daemon needs to do. He's got to do something with the city watch troops. So he rallies them. He makes this big speech. He's not going to just take over. It's like LeBron James, right? Going to Miami. They're not going to win three but four, but five or six. Like, no, it's not seven kingdoms. It's nine kingdoms. It's 12 kingdoms. It's the new Valeria. Soup, do you buy this? Do you think that these guys who have not been paid, it's a very dangerous job. They're getting picked off and killed. Do you think Damon has enough charisma here that they're like, oh, that's cool. You can pay us in a couple of weeks or months or years or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, normally something like that doesn't really fly very well, even even if you're working in in a fucking convenience store or whatever the fuck, I mean, but
You need money.
if you're risking your fucking life, like in weird conditions like that, man, then yeah, it means a little bit more to have, so, to be accommodated. But I think he did a good job, kind of, portraying the his leadership and getting the team behind him and hyping him up a little bit, like a locker room speech style. I really enjoyed that scene actually. So it was one of those, man. And yeah, but that's not going to live forever, dude. He's got to come through with that shit. So
Well, great speech. I just don't know if I bought how fast they bought into it. But then at the end, he finds that feast for traitors. You got our guy Luther Laurent there. He was the big cheese there within the City Watch. So Jamie G, what do you think here, man? Could the City Watch just as quickly as they came back to Damon's side get swayed again here after this? The way we end the episode here with this butchering of a bunch of City Watch dudes.
Yeah, I think they could. Dude, first of all, loved his speech. Wanted to be in that room. That was like locker room, like win one for the Gipper here. Really enjoyed it, dude. Um, but I do think they can be swayed. He's got to deliver. He's got to solve this. And winning cures all. And if they're gonna keep getting picked off like this, and he's gonna keep losing guys, I think eventually, without pay, doesn't matter how good of a speech he gave, you're gonna start to lose some of these guys.
Yeah, you feel, especially because Ormond seems to have at least some people on the inside. It's not going to be that hard to really kind of push this thing into, a full boil from a simmer here. So I'm very curious to see where they go with that. Mentioned that we had two notable departures here for The Departed. Sir Luther Laurent of the City Watch gets it bad, and then we had Janos here. That's the dude with the shit boots that Aegon 2 managed to get his revenge on. So down two from this episode, no one major. A couple of minor mentions here. Joffrey, that is Rhaenyra's youngest, well, currently oldest son, but it was the youngest of her sons with Sir Strong there. He is back in King's Landing. We saw him. Rhaenyra looked at him sleeping. No real dialogue or anything there, but he is heir to the throne, so he is going to be in play, I would assume. And then Alan of Hull only gets one saying, mentions to Rhaenyra that they are going to be rebuilding the fleet at Driftmark. So just a little bit of table setting there. A lot of table setting in the episode, but I think we are ready for a feast. I think it's all set out there and it's coming out hot.
yeah, I mean, I think the menu's written. It's just being putting the final touches on. Everything's being fired right now, man. Putting them
Just
dishes
wait to
together.
open the door, dude.
Well, we haven't found the bottom of our flagons just yet, but I think we've gotten to the bottom of Unbent and Unbroken. So it's time to move on to the award tour. First up, we got our alternate episode titles.
I actually don't mind this one. It is a little bit close to the Game of Thrones episode title, but we did hear it kind of referred to a couple of times by different characters, so it did make sense. We'll throw out a couple alts here just to have some fun with it. As far as a fun one here, we don't have anything as awesome as Gwane's World. Could go back to the well with that one, but how about let's just do a little bit of a rage thing, because there seems to be a lot of this coming up, a little killing in the name of, be it the faith, their beliefs, whatever. A lot of people are killing in the name of, and in addition to that, you can always do the rage song as a needle drop. That is awesome. A couple of other options here. A feast for traitors. Obviously, this is what we see at the end of the episode. Also, a little bit of a callback to one of the Song of Ice and Fire novels, A Feast for Crows. Like that one there, we're not counting crows, we are feasting on them. And then we have Your Grace. Kind of simple here, but I think it has two different contexts here, in which we hear it said to Rhaenyra, in which we hear Aegon want that respect back of being Your Grace, of being the guy. And then finally, we have Beacon of Faith. Once again, I think faith is a big part of this episode. Everyone's looking for something, even if it's Kristen Cole just looking for that exit to the highway to hell. So that's what we have for alts here. A Feast for Traitors, Your Grace, Beacon of Faith. Jamie G, any of those pop for you?
I'm gonna go with A Feast for Traitors. I really like that, man. I thought that was I thought that's a good call.
How about you, Soup? Any of these pop for you?
Honestly, not really. I kind of like the original title. If I were to pick one, I'd probably have to go for the Feast of Traders too, man. But that being said, I immediately thought Feast of Friends, but this isn't exactly a Feast of Friends here, man. Maybe we'll get to that towards the end of the season. But I prefer a Feast of Friends anyway. It's like
No,
Jim
that sounds
Morrison.
well, as long as it's not cannibals.
Yeah.
If it's a cannibal situation, I don't know about that Feast of Friends. I mean, that could be a little sketchy.
Next up on the award tour, we've got our favorite moment or scene from the episode here. Soup, you've been doing good hitting lead off tonight, so you can send us on our way once again. What was your favorite moment or scene from this episode?
Couple to choose from here, of course, as always, man. I'm ultimately going to land on my first instinct, which was not a major action-packed scene or anything, but it is that locker room speech Damon gave to his city guard, whatever the fuck, his crew there, man, and it just put me in the moment, man, because like I occasionally like to give speeches like that, or it was like Shoresy in the locker room, dude. It was, it hypes your team up, and even if you're not in such dire straits as they are right now, it still is encouraging going forward, knowing that who knows what could happen in the next little bit. So to get people together and that camaraderie is huge, and it hit home with me a little bit. So I'm going with that scene right there. Plus, he delivered it so well, dude.
I second all of that. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna go with Aemond having the nightmares with that one eye just looking so awesome. Just a shade of blue you don't see too often in that thing. A midnight blue. It was freaking great, dude. And then his freak out and then comfort along with Alice Rivers, who apparently he's calling mama. So I definitely love that scene. I thought that was really cool. I like that kind of like weird mind control stuff that might be going on there. It's very intriguing. So the haunt of it all. So I'm gonna go there.
I like both of those. I think I have to go back to Larry's doing his best mad rapper and just telling Aegon to what he really thinks, what everybody really thinks of him. I think that was a big moment both for Aegon and maybe kind of coming to a little bit of self-realization. And for Larry's, I think he was kind of running out of cards to play. This is the biggest one he had, the only possible trump card he had left that he was holding. He played it here. I think it worked. We'll see what the addition of Tywin Lannister, the wild card, will do as far as impacting the way the hand turns out.
Somebody called Dylan because the award tour has arrived at our favorite quotes from Unbent and Unbroken. I guess it's my turn to go first here and spit that hot fire. I'm going to go with one where it was just like, I thought it was a moment for him, man, when Aegon's crown gets discovered and he has another one of those epic stab joints. This guy was built to be in like, I don't know, like Prison Escape or something with those shanks, dude. He just, anyways, kills him. And I love as he sticks that last blade in there. He's like,
You will call me Your Grace.
awesome, dude. Really like that. I'm going with that. I thought that was just a big moment for him. When, I mean, he literally went from kissing shit off this guy's boot, literally licking a shitty boot, to like stabbing this guy with this knife and being like, you'll call me Your Grace. Just awesome. I'm going there.
Yeah, he had just hit rock bottom. Like literally, Larry's gave him an
Yeah.
apple because they were going to run away to Essos or Bravos or whatever. And now all of a
Right.
sudden, might be on the come up, dude. He picked himself off the mat, Rocky Balboa style. We like that. Soup, what do you have here, man? Favorite quote from Unbent, Unbroken?
I mean, I was originally going to go with the thin-skinned twat, but I don't feel like just because it said that is worthy enough of favorite quote, although it is a good one. I think I'm going to stick with Damon's quote there, man.
You are the Queen of Dragons. Your strength is your legitimacy.
Short and to the point. It means a fucking lot,
I like that one a lot too, but I think and the way he delivered it, it was impactful.
Yeah.
And she needs to remember that too, because it's kind of like the two styles of leading between the two of them. So I definitely thought that was a good one.
I was tempted to go with Cole. That's more really of a full monologue. I already mentioned Larry's dropping the double truth bomb on Aegon. Soup used the Queen of Dragons. I mentioned, Damon's going to fulfill his Rhaenyra's command later. So I'm going to go with Alice Rivers here. And oddly enough, I get like George Costanza pretending to be a marine biologist energy here.
This castle breathes. She swallows the greedy, the heedless. Her founding stones were watered with the blood of men. And she's always thirsty.
I don't know. I'm just getting like the sea was angry that day, my friends vibes from this, and I'm totally there for it. So I did not think I was going to make a parallel between George Costanza and Alice Rivers, but here we are.
Hey man, I mean that place might change names to Vandalay,
I mean, if she can't get Harrenhal, Vandal Industries might be next.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Late
always
day.
penny packers in there somewhere too. I mean,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
gone to Crimerica after that. They're going to work on this whole giant ball of oil thing.
Vandalay almost sounds like it could be in Westeros, man. There should be a Vandalay somewhere over there.
Yeah, I mean, if
yeah,
George is Oscar and Kermit,
Lord of
come on, work a
Vandalay.
Vandalay or a Costanza in there. House Costanza, dude. Why not? That would fit.
It does fit.
They'd be from Riverlands House, I think, House Costanza. Stormwoods or Riverlands.
For the penultimate stop on the award tour, we have the Hot D Hierarchy, our House of the Dragon power rankings. We've each ranked our top 5 characters individually away from each other from this episode, with number 1 being our episode MVP.
So far, my MVPs through 4 episodes have been Jace, Rhaenyra, Ormond, and Ormond. Overall, the total points leader for me right now is Rhaenyra. She has had the best ratings thus far with 13 points. We're going to each start out by giving our 5 through 3, and then we'll circle back around for our top 2. For my number 5 in this episode, just the man is on a kamikaze mission. I feel like I have to give him a little something, something here. I'm going with Kristen Cole. I don't like him. I don't know that they're ever going to be able to make me like him, but I think I will at least enjoy his death, and he seems like he will probably enjoy it too. At number 4, I have to go with Alice Rivers. I thought about bringing Aemon in the mix here. Nice to see him back. He's brandishing the sword. No Vagar, but he's coming up. But it seems like Alice Rivers might have control over him, so it would not be right to put Aemond above her. So I'm going Alice Rivers at 4. And then at number 3, I'm going with the Rocky Balboa of this episode. Give me Aegon the Deuce here. Gets back up off the mat, murders dude. He is your grace. He's got Tywin Lannister back. He's got Larry's. You know what? I think they got a stew going. Jamie G, so far through 4 episodes, your MVPs have been Alan of Hull, Rhaenyra, and Ormond. Right now, your overall leader is Rhaenyra as well with 13 points. Give us your 5 through 3 Hot D Hierarchy, season 5 or season 3, episode 5.
Yeah, a little bit of similarities, but not a lot. I'm going to go number 5, Masseria here. I just think she's kind of on the come up, quietly doing it her way, like Frank Sinatra. And I really like the fact that she now has some serious leverage over Allison, who at a certain point you can kind of call maybe like a quasi prisoner advisor to Rhaenyra. And I think that's going to pay dividends later on. So I like her on the come up here. She's creeping on the come up. And I thought she's on the move in a positive way with her own little small Cold War she's facing on the council and with Damon and with everyone else. So she got a little leverage here. Number 4, I am also going to throw Sir Kristen Cole on the list. Don't like him, but kind of respect what he's doing here a little bit. It's cheesy, it's stupid, but he is becoming quite a thorn in the proverbial side, and I think that's worth noting. He's now a problem that has to be dealt with, and he's just persistent, and he's just not quitting. And you got to give him a little bit of credit for that. He knows, the most dangerous thing is a man who knows he's going to die and isn't afraid of it. That's a tough situation there. So that's where he's at. Number 3, definitely a bit of a drop down here for me from previous rankings, but I'm going to put Rhaenyra. I think she's settling in, but really struggling here to rule. She's got a lot of problems. She's kind of scatterbrained. She doesn't know where to go. she's still sitting on the throne, so I will give her that. But I think this is the first episode we're starting to see maybe some of that power snatch away and go to the Greens here in terms of the battle they're facing. So I'm going to put her at 3 this week.
Yeah, a couple of chinks in the armor there. We all picked Team Green as the winner of the episode. So far, Soup, you have gone with Corliss, Rhaenyra, and Ormond as your MVPs. Your overall leader is Damon with 14 points. Give us 5 through 3.
5 through 3. All right. Well, we're going with after a little bit of consideration here, man. I'm putting Laris at number 5, dude. He just for whipping his dick out like that, right, it was pretty solid, dude. And he's been a good character. He deserves to be on the board. I think it's the first time I put him on the board, so this is the time to put him on the board. He's at number 5, dude. Um, I'm putting Allison at number 4. She might have deserved to have been ranked a little bit higher, but I'm putting her at 4. Um, she a lot going on with her, man, and I think she played. I don't know. She just deserves to be on there. Probably even higher, but she's going at 4 this time. At number 3, I'm putting Damon at 3. Damon seems like he didn't have a lot going on this episode, but he did. What the little things he did were very impactful. So then he had that awesome speech, and he did get to torture a guy. So that was pretty cool. We got to see an open gaping eye hole right there.
Were you just missing a little bit of the stuck in the middle with you there, or what? Wouldn't that?
It could have totally been it could have totally been a Reservoir Dogs situation there, man. K Billy Super Sounds of the 70s could have worked had it been, not Westeros, and there was music like that. But yeah, I could see that.
Definitely a good eye hole there. That was
Good eye hole, man. I mean,
He just wanted to carve a little D in his forehead.
yeah.
Might have to play the Jefferson Airplane for that one, though. I like the Allison call there. Maybe not a lot of wins, but I like how dedicated she is to do anything, right? I mean, she
Yeah.
is literally trying to make the deal with Rhaenyra, taking the moon tea, trying to sneak out. She hasn't necessarily been that successful, but she's still alive, I guess, and she's still trying things. Maybe she got Mysaria over to her side a little bit, so I like what you're doing with that. At 2, I actually have Mysaria. I always like somebody who can be playing both sides, and right now she seems to be the person who is in the best position to do so. I'm very curious here. There's not a lot about her in the books. There's a lot of things they could do. I'm always kind of big fans of these characters, kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes. So I'm going to go with Mysaria at number 2. And at number 1, it's got to be Ormond for me. He scores the biggest wins here. He has an underground network that's successfully gutting the City Watch. It's causing havoc with Rhaenyra and her small council. I think Ormond is really the big winner here. I know Darren's on his team. It's tough to award both of them. I do like what Darren's doing, but right now it does seem that Ormond is kind of the head dog in charge here. He is the big guy. Jamie G, who do you have for your top 2 this week?
I am going to go with number 2. I'm going Damon. I just think he not only is he awesome and like fastly becoming my favorite character by a long shot here, but I think he's actually right in some of his approach, but he carries such a big stick here. Everything he does, he's facing a big issue. He's got to figure it out. But I definitely love kind of getting him in here and him dealing with the fact that he's not, he's representing the Queen's interests, but he has to also wants to do things that he knows that he should be doing. So it's a lot going on for him. Definitely enjoying it a lot with him. So I'm putting him at 2. Number 1, I got to go with Ormond. I mean, the dude's literally every move he's making is affecting the blacks significantly. He's now infiltrated. Not only took over a place that raises Rhaenyra's banner, but also infiltrated like Nino at the Carter here, dude. He infiltrated their home base in King's Landing, and they're losing gold cloaks. Not only that, but maybe he was behind the money, maybe he wasn't with that going away, but he's making moves quietly, strategically that are really affecting the blacks' ability to win this war.
The big Soup, who do you have in your top 2 here?
I'm putting Alice Rivers at number 2, man. There's a lot going on there. She is making more and more of an impact, and I think there's a lot more to come. So I'm intrigued and interested on what's going to happen going down the line there. And she, I mean, what she did this episode was pretty fucking, pretty interesting as well. A lot of pretty major, as far as character and situations in the overall scheme of things, So she's getting number two, and number one. After careful consideration, I'm putting Aegon at number one. Man, I think he had the biggest turnaround there, and it's not only because he exposed his gnarly ear hole, which props for hanging that thing, but no, I think he had the biggest, deepest moments of the episode here, man. And I don't know if I like the character so much, but I do like the development and where this character is going. And we've seen him in, I think, every episode, so there's a reason for that. So there's going to be more to come, I'm sure. I don't think they're going to take an episode off. It doesn't seem like it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. It might not hurt, but the way it's going, I like where he's at. He's getting number one this week, dude.
Nice. Jamie G, which of these is more likely to be the title of a fish song? Earhole or butter churner?
Ooh. Oh man, I'm gonna go butter churner, but it wouldn't. Both are
The way
doable.
y'all talking, I can just hear them like, oh yeah, went right from an ear hole into a sweet butter churn or something like that.
Yeah, gnarly ear hole, dude. Again, right into a fucking blind butter churner.
into
I
into,
love
See,
it.
into a
gnarly ear hole
blistering
sounds like it'd be
butter
like
churner.
Rancid or something like California ska in the 90s. Jagged ear hole would be
Ear hole
Linus
without the
Morissette
gnarly,
remix.
Jagged ear hole, dude.
Jagged little lobe, dude. So for our combined rankings for the week, at number one, we have Ormond Hightower. At number two, we have Daemon Targaryen. At number three, arising from the ashes like a phoenix, like a sunfire, we have Aegon II. At number four, we have Alice Rivers. And at number five, someone had some tequila. We're drinking the worm, the white worm. Mysaria is number five.
It's the end of the line for the award tour. So it's time to hand out our episode grades. On Flagons and Dragons, we grade everything by handing out flagons of ale. Mills, on a scale of 0 to 100 flagons, what is your grade for Unbent and Unbroken?
I think it's in the same tier as the previous two episodes. So far this season, I've gone 96, 95, 85, 87. I think this is in that second tier, but I'm going to put it at the top of the second tier by a singular flagon. So I'm going to go 88 flagons of ale. If I need to, I can loan him to Doc Brown. He can get back to the future. Jamie G, so far this season, you've gone 94, 92, 86, 87. Fairly similar to me here, kind of two tiers. Where is this one living for you? Is it up in that first tier with the first two episodes, or is it kind of close to the previous two?
I think it's pretty close to the previous two, but I like you, I'm going to nudge it just one flagon above. I'm going to go 88 flagons of ale on this one, and I just think that it's continuing to build. It was a really solid episode. We're getting great development out of certain characters. It's setting the framework up here. Uh, Really good episode of television. I'm going 88 flagons.
Soup, you have a chance to do the crazy 88s thing, but it would be your lowest grade of the season. So far, you've gone to 96, 97, 90, and 91 flagons. Are you making it a three-way crazy 88s, or are you living in the 90s still?
I feel like this one deserves to be in the 90s, although I want to do the three-way, man, but no. The Crazy 88's full, we'll get there, but no, I got to keep this one in the 90s, dude. I'm going to stick right where I was last week with a 91, man.
Nice. I mean, everyone always wants to go for the three-way. If they tell you they don't, they're lying.
Twins, Basil.
Or yeah, well, I'm thinking of the old the Coors Light commercial. Was it and twins? That was a thing.
Yeah, the Doubleman twins.
No, the double went to chew your gum, girls.
Yeah.
Got to bring it back to Spaceballs.
See them chicks? Girl Scouts. Took 2 boxes.
Jack and Jill went up the hill, each with a buck in a corner. Jill came down with 250. Oh.
Oh. It's time to bid farewell to the award tour because we've arrived at Speculation Station. It's time to give our predictions, theories, all that good stuff for the next episode and really for the rest of the season.
We do not know the title of the next episode. We do know it's being directed by Lonnie Pierce-Terre. This is the third episode of Hot D. He has directed 2 for 2 so far. He directed The Red Sowing and Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. That was the season 3 premiere. So looking forward to him completing his trilogy. Writers are David Hancock and Shia Poppet. This is their first writing credit as a duo. It's the third writing credit for David Hancock. He also wrote The Red Sowing and Tumbleton, so it looks like he's got a decent track record. There is a short sneak peek for episode 6, so let's check out a clip real quick.
We have the clear advantage.
We are exposing her as weak and unsuited to rule. Little by little, bite by bite.
I cannot let this go unanswered.
It does seem like they're trying to save those trailer lines for Ormond, right? They're definitely leaning on that. Maybe the one thing in the teaser that we wouldn't have anticipated, it looks like somebody captured Rhaena. Jamie G, any thoughts on who that might be? Is she just being brought back to Jane Eyre there in the Eyrie, or did maybe, did Bela and Adam find her? Did Damon find her? What do you think's going on there with Rhaena?
Yeah, my concern is that Rhaenyra wasn't satisfied with Damon's attempt to right the wrong of the loss of Jace early in the season here, and so I think she's not satisfied with that, and she's going to have the White Worm or somebody else look into it, and they're going to find it, and I think this is going to be one of those things that's going to pin her and Damon against each other, and I just hate that because I'm just done with the in-house fighting between the two of them, trying to see them to be successful and get along and rule the realm the way they're supposed to. And I'm worried that that's going to be a problem here for him.
What do you think, Soup? Like, who kind of got Rhaena here? Like, where's she at? What's going on with that?
I have to take a better look at that and analyze it a bit more. I know it's only a brief whatever.
Yeah,
but,
you can't see too much. She gets kind of the proverbial, the classic yank the bag off their head kind of thing. It's a couple of nights next to her, so she's not out in the woods. She's, she's in some kind of hall or whatever. But
I don't think it's
tough
Damon.
to tell.
I could almost guarantee that because like somebody I think saw like somebody Damon didn't realize knew that he was there. Like somebody caught on to that she was stashed out there, or either that or somebody randomly fucking finds her or something and then is able to capture her and knows who it is.
Yeah, this part's off book. I'm guessing that it is Jane Eyre. Like, she wants to at least know what's going on because she had Damon come ask for the gold, and now she was the one, Joffrey was staying with her. He got recalled to King's Landing, so now she doesn't have a lot of leverage anymore. So I think maybe now she wants to at least check in and be like, yo, what's the deal here? Maybe they'll come to some sort of agreement about protecting the veil. Maybe it's something along those lines.
Or is it Ormond and his crew discovered something, or maybe
yeah, it could definitely go another way. Like she definitely could. A lot of options here, I think, for the most part. We hear Aemon say, he has this dream. He sees Aegon, or he says his brother. Maybe it's not Aegon. He says his brother. I just assumed it was Aegon, but with his face on fire, dragging him down into darkness. Soup, do you think this is like real foreshadowing, giving us a clue maybe to how Aemon goes? Or do you think this is maybe Alice Rivers trying to mess with him or him just having some bad dreams?
I don't think it's just bad dreams. I think there's going to be some foreshadowing or Ellis Rivers, kind of trying to take control of his thought process, in some way.
What do you think, Jamie G? What was Aemon talking about here? And honestly, I just assumed it was Aegon because, he burned Aegon on a dragon. So that made sense to me. We hear Aegon wanting revenge, but I forgot Darren as a dragon is also his brother here.
Right.
Who do you think, if it's a thing, if this is real, who do you think it is? Or is it just, bullshit?
I definitely don't think it's bullshit because the fact that Helena was also in on these dreams, that makes it to me like full force real. Like whether it's, I think she's seeing it, maybe it's being conducted or facilitated by Alice, but I definitely think she's seeing it. I definitely think she's she's in there, and I think it's real. It's interesting because they're setting so much up to like Aegon wanting to get his revenge, and like that's what's fueling his whole thing. But in the end, I think that's too obvious. So I'm gonna say maybe it's somebody else. I'm gonna say it's Damon.
Damon or Darren?
Well, technically, well, I mean, him and Damon aren't brothers. They are related, certainly, but he said brother in the thing, but he didn't say Aegon or Daron specifically. I guess theoretically, he's also half brothers with Joffrey, with Rhaenyra's youngest son. He does have a dragon in the show. He's not big enough to fly yet, really, or at least into battle, but he does have a dragon. So I guess we have at least three options on the table. So I hope the show goes for something interesting. Jamie G, what do you think they're doing here with Helena's pregnancy, Mysaria knowing about it? Do you think she's going to tell Rhaenyra? Where do you think they're going with this?
I love what they're doing here because now it's a chess piece that Mysaria has that she can do something with, and it keeps the viewer guessing as to what may or may not be happening. Particularly, I don't know if this is in the book or not. I didn't read the book.
It's not.
So this is a new development for everybody.
Yeah, so I have no real real insight. There's a slight idea because there is an extra child that's unaccounted for, but they mess with the ages of the children so much, almost anything's in play here.
Yeah, I really like it because it keeps us guessing, and it keeps a trick, something up Mysaria's sleeve, makes her more of a player here, gives her something, but it's gonna come to a head, dude. It's gonna boil over. I mean, you can't. It's not something you can exactly hide. So I definitely see it coming out here sooner rather than later, and we'll see. But I like where they're going with this. I think it's going to be a thing where Helena's going to either die or have that baby or both. I don't see any other way around it.
Well, it's almost all of the possible options for the most part. The only one you have is she lives and doesn't have the baby. That's the only one you're not coming.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other things there, but I think she's willing to whatever it takes to have this. She did say something super interesting to Alicent where she's like, "It's mine." Like, meaning does she think she just willed it? Maybe there wasn't any
an immaculate conception here.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a divine, like Mother Mary type situation. I don't know.
Well, who was she? Do we have any idea who she was banging?
Well, it would have been Aegon still. They were still
I think we
in Showtime. They were still he got burned only I don't know, a month ago. Maybe 2 months ago tops.
That man, holy fuck!
Yeah, he's definitely recovered faster than in the books, but it was a trade-off in the books. There's still a chance he has his cock in the show, no cock. So I would rather take longer to heal, still have my equip monk than not. If I was given the choice. So,
yeah, exactly. Sure.
Yeah, I think he would probably go back and do it the other way. JBG, how about Lady Frey here? We know from Game of Thrones the Freys are a giant pain in the ass. Could this lady is kind of inconsequential? She seems like just kind of for better or worse, just like a House of the Dragon Karen. Could she actually wind up being a bigger thorn in Rhaenyra's side than we think?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone right now is in play to be a thorn in her side, and I think she thinks by adding her on, it's going to be a good thing, but it could actually end up being a bad thing for her. And she's coming in already unhappy. It's usually a bad sign.
Yeah, the Freys, whenever they feel slighted, tend to probably overreact. What do you think here, Soup? Is she just going to be an annoying lady, or has she got maybe enough, wherewithal and enough pull to maybe cause real problems for Rhaenyra?
I think she's more of an annoyance, man. But again, like Jamie G just said, there's a lot of people that are kind of, poking at her right there, man. And Rhaenyra, man, the reason she didn't make my list at all tonight, as far as the top 5 or whatever, is because I mean, she needs to pull her fucking balls out, dude. I mean, I'm not saying she needs to go crazy and burn up villages and shit, but she needs to whip it out. And
give him a tug at least.
Yeah. Hey, I have a fucking dick. I mean, metaphorically speaking, we don't.
She's even said that though. She needs to act like a man because she will not be taken as seriously as a man. So you are right. She needs to whip her metaphorical dick out. That's literally what she needs to show hand here. Regain some control over the situation. That's kind of the same reason she didn't make it for me, because she didn't win anything in this episode other than Joffrey made it back safe. But that's kind of a small win at this point. You managed to keep one of your children alive. That's kind of, damning with faint praise a little bit. You should hopefully be keeping them all alive. JBG, how about Vhagar? Is she just taking a vacation? Is it something with the mental link with Aemon? That's what the actor thinks. He said that on the inside the episode. He thinks that Aemon needs to prove himself to bring Vhagar back. Or is it Alice Rivers doing some magical shit, man? Why do you think Vhagar, has been 86 for a minute here?
I'm gonna go with a typical Jamie G, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of column C. I think that two things. One, there is some witchery, magical, dark magic shit going on here, and I think that's in play. But two, if you remember, Aemon wasn't even supposed to have Vagar. Aemon kind of just took it, and it wasn't really even a thing, and it just kind of became. So it could be a little bit like, hey, you've got to earn your keep. But I think it's a little bit of all of it, where like Aemon is going through something where he's questioning his own self value, his own self-worth, his own ability. And it could be a thing where like, like kind of like your dog knows when you're sad, right? And it's like could be the same thing here with the dragon, where it's like she knows that he's not right, he's not equipped to be handling her right now, and she's going to go and let him go through his journey so he can come out stronger and ready to ride again.
Yeah, we've seen this with superheroes and stuff. Kind of, they have the crisis of faith or confidence or whatever it is, and that's kind of what the actor said. Basically, like since he claimed Vagar, that's been his entire idea of where his strength comes from. So now he has to kind of prove to himself that he has strength without Vagar. But what do you think, Soup? Do you think that's the case here? Is it just kind of Aemon needs to prove himself to reestablish the bond, or do you think Alice Rivers is working a little witchcraft?
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and I mean, I think that an exact quote was, "A dragon's got to eat," so I mean, I'm sure.
Right. It would make sense. He could also just be doing a little sabbatical here. She's just going and checking out the countryside, going to bed
Yeah,
and breakfast.
absolutely. Am I right? Is Vhagar the biggest dragon alive right now? Or, not that that's really a factor into what we're talking about here, but okay. Anyway, yeah, maybe he doesn't really have the connection, because he did just kind of claim, but what I do think above everything is that there is a little bit of fuckery going on, with Alice Rivers, and maybe she's confusing the dragon a bit to where Vagar doesn't really know what to do and maybe feels lost and somehow blocking that connection between the two of them, so it could be that too, something along those lines, maybe.
I like what you're putting down there. How about what we see with Alicent and Helena at the very end? They find a secret passage, but the door closes behind them. Pretty classic stuff. The other end is walled up. They drop the torch here. Are they going to have to just scream for help? Will someone find them? Do you think they're going to find another side passage or something, man? Any idea where they're going there? They're literally trapped in the walls.
I feel like there should be a way out or go back the way you came, but I mean, if did they
They
seal?
can't. They closed behind him, and then the road ahead was bricked off, and then they dropped the torch. So
You can't go back. They couldn't get back out the way they came in.
no, they said they
Epic
can
mistake
anyways.
here. You should have left the door cracked just a
Yeah,
smidge.
yeah. Throw a
Yeah, it's
little-
a Temple of
throw
Doom.
a
Y'all are
wedge
Temple of
in there,
Doom guys.
right?
It's the same thing that happens in Temple of Doom when they go in, the door closes behind them. Or
Exactly.
when Willie
Put
goes
the
in.
wedge in there,
And then
dude.
you can't fumble your only light source. I mean, come on, amateur hour here.
Not relate that thing. I mean, you got to go prepared, dude. If you're going on a mission like that, you got to be fucking prepared. You
Gotta be ready.
yeah.
I mean, Allison's supposed to be all in here, so you have to assume that they're going to try to figure something out. I like the idea. Maybe they can use a sunny solution. If you get a cat stuck in the wall, the answer is obviously you send in another cat. Now we have a bunch of cats that were added in this episode, so somehow I'm just going with like an underpants gnome kind of thing here, like cats plus wall plus people equals plus question mark equals profit.
Yeah, well, I do know
So
this, man. I'm pretty sure I would, if I were a gambling man, I'd put a bunch of money on the fact that they're probably not going to die in the wall.
no, I don't think we're going to just cut to their skeletons 2 years from now or something like that. They're probably going to make it, them crazy kids. Jamie G, how about the City Watch, man? We talked about it a little bit. Do you think they will maintain their loyalty to Damon after this Feast of Traitors thing here? They haven't been getting paid. Is this a bridge too far? Do you think he can mollify him, or is Damon in real trouble of losing the watch?
I think it's a real issue. Will he? I don't think so, but I definitely think he's in real trouble here. If he doesn't solve this, and I mean like ASAP, then it's a real problem for him.
I think he needs to solve, and he needs a coin now. He might have to overpay now after all this. So, what do you think, Soup? Is Damon in real trouble? Can he possibly lose the watch here?
If he doesn't come through, yeah, absolutely, man. You can't just make empty promises and shit, especially on a level like that. And you could have a full on mutiny, so you gotta be careful about that kind of shit, man. So he's got to come through. He's got to find a way to come through. And if he does, then I think, you'll have the support of your team if you continue to follow through with what you say you're doing, you know, and if something else fucked up happens, then you have that grace period because your team knows that, hey man, this guy's serious, he'll come through, you know, then they build trust in you, you know, so he needs to build that trust. Right now he has the idea of the trust, but he's got to prove it to them, and then, you know, it's earned, man. You know,
Yeah, he has to reprove it because he had some trust, but then he cashed in those cards. So now you're back down to zero. It's like the sleep bank. You know, you get behind and then you get to take a couple of days off. You get a long weekend. You build back up a little balance at the sleep bank, and then you go back and work for 2 weeks, and then you owe the sleep bank again. So I think he is just kind of, you know, back in the red a little bit. Perhaps he can get it up. I was trying to think of the most ironic thing. I guess, would it be if he manages to get a win against the High Towers, but what he gets is a bunch of Daron gold coins, then he's got to pay the city watch in the Daron coins. I mean, I think that would be juicy.
Yeah,
That would be juicy.
but I mean, ultimately, you just melt those shits down and
Right, yeah, that's the right answer.
Put dick balls on it or something, you know. Yeah,
well, they have gold dragons. That's kind of the biggest of the currency is the gold dragon there.
Dragon
So
dick on my money, yeah, that's what you want, man. Dragon's dick gold coins, dude.
I mean,
I'm trying to remember what they have on the
Looney.
Looney and the Toonie in Canada. I know there's a duck on one of them.
Looney and Toonies, yeah, man. I want to know what a dragon's dick look like. Does anybody know? Have we ever seen?
Actually, dragons in this world at least are sexless. They can change sexes as needed.
Well, they lay eggs, right?
So they can. Well, they can, or they
don't really have.
But they can change. It's kind of like the Jurassic Park thing with the dinosaurs. Like life finds a way. That's kind of how dragons are. Like if one of them needs to, they can basically like be both or whatever kind of. So like dragons are gender fluid, I guess is what I'm saying in this world.
And there's not actually dragon sex then. Like they're not mating.
No, I don't think so. Like they lay eggs, but I don't know if there's really like I don't know if they get it on. Like maybe it's more of a fertilization thing. I don't know. You know, like a fish do it or something.
If they're laying eggs, it probably is. I don't think birds fucking shit, right? I think it's more like, or do they? I don't know.
Birds.
I don't know. I forget. I know fish is more like they lay and then they come and fertilize them. So that's always kind of what I figured. But that's just my headcanon. There's no.
Does an eagle have a dick though? I know ducks do, but
well, goddamn, of course it's a symbol of America. An eagle has a goddamn dick. Somewhere there's a great Homelander or Soldier Boy. There's a great Soldier boy line in there somewhere about what are you a commie? Do you not think a bald eagle has a goddamn American cock?
Right.
That American Eagle's cock is unbent and unbroken. I will guarantee you that.
Perfect.
That is a fact. We're going off the rails here.
Well, I'm just doing the Soldier Boy thing. It's fine. We're just going to churn the butter. That's how we do it around here. And we appreciate y'all turning the butter with us. Hopefully it's been fun. You haven't gone blind doing it. You can go blind if you get to the bottom of your flagon too fast. So make sure you show a little bit of moderation. Thanks again for checking out Flagons and Dragons. Again, we are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find us wherever you get your pods. Find us on YouTube, on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. Same place on the web, dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it easy to remember, just like those flaps, FLAPS. Very crucial to our success. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had the fun, please holler at Mr. Thumb. I am Magnum Mills with JBG and the Soup Deucer. Thanks again for checking out the show. We will do it again next week.
Next week it is. Be sure to keep your flagons full and your fires hot because this campfire is just starting to roast, man. We got 3 episodes left, and it's going to be a bonfire by the end of this thing, I'm sure, man. Walrus last night, huh?
Dude, it was awesome, dude. Walrus perfectly into a ripping first two.
Yeah, that's a hell of a way to end the show, dude.
It was a great way to end the show, dude. And